Love it or hate it, Disney's parks are engineering and innovative masterpieces. Everything from the designs to the behind-the-scenes inner workings of the parks have had thousands of man-hours to bring the park to its current amusement park glory. But despite its popularity, the park had a very rocky start, leading to its title Black Sunday. What caused one of Walt Disney's most prided projects to falter? What led the press to report that, probably for the first time in his career, Disney disappointed thousands of youngsters? We'll be diving into all this and more, so don your Mickey Mouse ears as we learn something new. As you probably already know, Walt Disney didn't initially set out to bring about the happiest place on Earth. He had started as a commercial artist before opening a small studio in LA to produce animated cartoons. His studio would grow in popularity over the next decade, coming out with classics such as Pinocchio, Dumbo, and Bambi. But the inspiration for the amusement park would allegedly come to him while watching his daughters on a carousel. It's said he wondered while watching them ride the carousel, why wasn't there some sort of amusement experience that the entire family could enjoy together? He looked for something like what he was imagining, but came up short of anything that met his famously strict standards for quality. At the same time, Disney would frequently receive tons of letters from children all across the country, many of whom expressed a desire to meet Mickey Mouse. Over time, this built up to his revolutionary idea, to build a park that was safe and inviting for families while also allowing people to meet his cartoon characters. When Disney decided that he would be building a place that told a story, he knew that he would need people and technology to help create the magic and tell those stories. In 1952, Disney raised and set aside money to create WED Enterprises, standing for Walter Elias Disney. WED Enterprises would encompass all of the people and technology he had chosen to create his theme park. It consisted of the best from his studio, together with carpenters, engineers, and scientists who would help him create his dream. Disney's vision was that he would tell a story and his workers would create the technology that would bring it to life. Disney himself was a huge lover of technology, seeing it as a canvas on which to tell a convincing and magical story. For example, when he wanted to have a boat ride that went through the rivers of the world, with visitors encountering real animals, zoologists told him that that would be impossible. So instead, Disney decided to have his team create robotic animals to inhabit his jungle cruise. In this way, technology at Disneyland was established as a safe and inviting way to help guests immerse themselves in the story. But all of this was going to be incredibly expensive, and despite his early success, Walt lacked the funds to do it all himself. To help pay for the park, he looked toward a new and exciting technology that was ushering the entertainment and information industries into the future: television. He approached all three major news networks at the time with his proposal, but only ABC was willing to partner with him. Disney would produce a weekly family television program for ABC. In return, ABC would invest $500,000 in the creation of Disneyland and help guarantee a $4.5 million bank loan. ABC would come away owning a whopping 34% of the new park. Disney also raised money for his Magic Kingdom by convincing consumer product companies that if the public encountered their brands at Disneyland, they would associate those products with the fun they had during their visit. The money provided from the sponsorships was very important, as the park cost more than $17.5 million to complete, almost double their original predictions. Originally, these companies ended up getting shares in Disneyland as part of their agreement, but once the park started to turn a profit, Disney bought all those shares back, until the only owners were the Disney Company and ABC. Once the Disney Company acquired ABC, Disney and his management team took back control over the entire park. But now for the part you've all been waiting for. What happened on the opening day of Disneyland? And why was it so bad? Well, there were many reasons, and in hindsight it's not hard to see why. Construction had started exactly 1 year and 1 day before its July 17, 1955 opening. It was quite the ambitious timeline, a little too ambitious actually. While Fantasyland and Main Street were mostly complete, Tomorrowland was extremely empty because the general manager had managed for 4 months to convince Disney not to open it at the same time of the rest of the park. But in a relatively last-minute change of heart, Disney felt that walling it off would reflect poorly in the ABC broadcast. So 4 months behind schedule, the Tomorrowland construction had picked back up. Work on the park was happening right up until the guests arrived the morning of the opening, and it was clear to see that not enough time had been given. So let's walk through exactly what went wrong, piece by piece. As mentioned earlier, 1 year and 1 day was not enough, even with construction crews working around the clock to meet their deadlines. Once the doors opened, guests could easily see that it was not completely finished. Workers were still painting structures and planting trees all over the park. Weeds still had yet to be removed from many of the landscapes. But instead of landscaping the area, Walt Disney simply added signs with Latin plant names printed on them to make it look like they were meant to be there. Additionally, there was very little water to drink in the park. While there were many water fountains, most of them weren't working because of a plumber strike during construction. Walt Disney was forced to choose between working water fountains or working restrooms on opening day, and, well, understandably, he felt that toilets were more important, saying, well, you know they could drink Coke and Pepsi, but they can't pee in the streets. Finish the restrooms. Those who entered the park with empty stomachs on opening day were sorely disappointed. Only 3 restaurants were operational in the park, and they were constantly packed. It wasn't long before there were shortages, with all the food and drinks wiped out within hours. This was made even worse because of Disneyland's opening day was invite only, and not for public consumption. Tickets were mailed out and only reserved for special guests, including friends and family of employees, the press, and celebrities. However, scores of counterfeit tickets were widespread on opening day. Disneyland was only expecting about 15,000 guests in total, but more than 28,000 people with tickets entered the park. In addition, there were 2 sets of tickets with designated times, one for the morning and one for the afternoon. The time to leave Disneyland was printed on each ticket, so if it read 2:30 p.m., you were supposed to leave the park at that time to make way for the afternoon ticket holders to come in. Unfortunately for Disney, the morning ticket crowd didn't leave, so attendance ballooned when the afternoon attendees were admitted in. There was even someone who wanted to make money by making Disney's problems even worse. One man set up a ladder outside of one of the park's fences and charged $5 per person to climb it and sneak in. So the total number of people in the park on that day is completely unknown. While somewhat out of Walt's control, the weather problems were exacerbated by the lack of drinking fountains and shortages of drinks contributing to the disastrous opening day. Temperatures reached an over of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The day was so hot that the fresh asphalt became like a sticky tar, with guests complaining that they were getting their shoes and high heels stuck in the fresh pavement of Main Street, USA. But the worst part of all for Walt Disney was, on opening day, Walt Disney hosted a 90-minute live TV special with several co-hosts including future President Ronald Reagan. Approximately 1 in 3 Americans tuned in to see the happiest place on Earth. And while the cameras showed the fun and excitement of Disneyland, the TV special had to try its best to obscure the numerous disasters, especially since ABC was now a part owner of the park and was counting on its success as well. Walt himself was busy hosting the special and was unable to help out with the problems going on within the park. Eventually, the first day of the park's opening was over, and Walt waited anxiously to find out what would happen in the future. As it turns out, the opening day problems did little to dissuade visitors from flocking to Disneyland. It only took 7 weeks for attendance to surpass 1 million visitors. And the theme park soon surpassed the Grand Canyon and Yellowstone National Parks in popularity. 60 years later, more than 750 million people have passed through Disneyland's turnstiles, with many having a better experience than on day 1. Thank you for watching Learn Something New. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. I am on Twitter now, so if you want to see companion facts that didn't fit into the video, follow me there. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next one.